So welcome to session 71 of our D&D campaign. We are currently travelling in the lands of the Ethengarians after a snatch and grab session last year, where they managed to steal a glowing jewel from the base of Battle of the Saga's moving mountain. Tonight online we have start with David. Hopefully he's still got reception.
I think I do. Hello, I am David. I play Bella Silverton, an Ethengarian barbarian horselord who is very, very happy to be known, but not real keen on attracting more trouble in the moment. We'll ride it out. Yummy.
Also online today we have Emrys.
Good morning. My name is Emrys. I play a small lord in height, it's a halfling, named Nasty Crimson.
No, you're Captain Crimson. You are a pirate captain.
Crimson, that's it. We changed my name to suit my stature. I'm a newly reformed and very religious, while at the same time still a bastard. And I still have skin that looks like a testicle from a large bird. So.
And you are officially a pirate captain.
I am a pirate captain, and I have at least one pirate ship.
Well, you don't actually need a ship to be a captain.
I'm just going to interrupt there. Firstly, because you said we changed your name to match your stature. That's not true. We changed it to match your status. Your stature would require a very different name. And also, you've got camera on, and probably should turn that off the streaming quality.
Oh, you're no fun. But yes, I say stature because I'm very short and I like to assume things. So, but yes, there we go.
Okay. Also online today we have Grace.
I'm Grace. I am playing Little Miss. She is a albino human sorcerer of the wild magic type. She's sorry, just having a. She's from Irendi. She's a pirate. She used to pirate with Simply Red, formerly Captain Red, and is currently reassessing her life choices as far as magical decisions she's made. She thought she was learning things through her god that she's dedicated to, Karameikos, but has now learned that a whole bunch of her magic is actually evil and not okay. So she's working on purging herself of that and rededicating herself to Karameikos. And I'll just, at the risk of chaos of the party, remind Martin, for the sake of his memory, that if I cast a spell that is first level or higher, you can get me to roll a dice to see whether or not I have to roll on the wild search table. And if I spend any of my sorcery points on something like Tides of Chaos, then like you can at any time make me scroll on the wild search table after that without having to do the if you roll a one roll.
Yep. That is all good.
But now we're out of the Hollow World, I'm not making that happen for everyone.
Yes, the resurrections are now just your own. Go ahead.
Before you go on, we've got a horse lord that doesn't ride a horse, a captain that's a pirate captain that's nowhere near the water, and a mage who malfunctions every time they cast spells.
So far, yes.
And I'll just make it one more statement on there that the horse lord that doesn't have a horse or doesn't ride a horse definitely also does not have a silver tongue.
No, he is undefeated in battle.
But you introduced yourself with Bella silver tongue rather than Parliament.
Why has Parliament not got a horse?
Whoops, my bad. So I am Clement Gorinov, not Bella Silverton. And I do have a horse, but I never really get to ride it.
I was gonna say, like, we left a horse that we should have ridden.
Oh, yeah, no, I
right now.
He did recover it, yes.
Yeah. No, you're all good with that one. I give you something out of the end, that was amazing. But I also have another 3 horses as well that are all amazing breeding stock that I'm currently definitely not making money off. But I just never seem to get 5 months.
Yeah, but obviously that time the next adventure can take us back into the whole world.
Absolutely, yeah.
Obviously anyway,
Or into a celestial realm. Yeah.
I'm sure there are worse things that can happen.
Yeah, sorry.
And the next person up is Jeremy.
Yes, well, good evening all. I'm playing Dimitrios, a humble Trellen wise man who is only out to assist and guide the party and anyone else in the world, in fact, down correct paths and that would lead to the best opportunity and the best outcome for all concerned.
Just based on the word humble, can you get Jeremy to play to roll a deception check, please?
Okay.
I'll roll for you.
I will then get Martin to introduce his character.
Natural 20, David, okay.
So I'm playing Trellen Silverleaf, the Kenzai monk, Wood Elf, and yeah, that'll do. I don't use a lot of words.
It's alright, Dimitri's willing to fill in the blanks for you.
Okay, so to fill you in on some of the events that happened, you had chosen to investigate the undead unrest in the north of Galantry while recovering one of the seeds that the Fire Orcs had tasked you with so many years ago in the storyline. You did manage to recover one of those seeds. And in...
It's only been 1 or 2 years.
Well, it was the year before you went down into the Hollow World, so it did take a bit of time.
It feels like centuries.
And you went through a war zone to get it. And some of you made the trip up the mountain to pull the stone out from the base of Baba Lasaga's mountain, well, moving mountain.
Something I want to clarify the mountain.
Yeah.
Afterwards, the mountain moved, right?
It did not.
It did not, okay. So the mountain sort of collapsed at that point and hasn't moved again since.
It has not moved since you pulled the heart out of the mountain.
Oops.
At which point you the entire group spent a couple of days rushing through non-stop from the mountains out into the plains of Ethengar, where you pretty much collapsed in exhaustion, having not had a chance to rest for close to 4 days.
So what you're telling me is that we decided to reenact Maui in Moana.
Yes, you did rip the heart out of something and ran off with it.
But let's face it, if it means that Baba Lasaga's can no longer run out of the mountain, that's probably a good thing for the world. Keeps us stuck in Bulgaria.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good way.
And as you were leaving, you also saw the blood fog was dissipating over the area as well.
Ooh. So, does that mean that Lestrade's influence is decreasing? Maybe he lost the battles.
You're not exactly
It's
sure.
a bad thing for the world because that means that potentially Karameikos is probably actually won and therefore he's increased his influence.
So many things could go wrong with that. And once you make it into the lands of the Ethengarians, they promised you protection from the undead, but Plowman has been summoned to the Golden Khan's camp.
Hopefully the summons will allow us to walk there as opposed to run. Possibly with a couple of overnight stops on the way.
You do get to ride with a couple of overnight stops along the way. It is about 3 days, or probably about 5 days journey to the Great Khan.
You notice Plummet is visibly uncomfortable.
Well, that's right. I mean,
Is that because the Great Khan has summoned him?
Yes.
Not related to us or anything, that's fine.
well, okay. He's got the standard level of comfortableness with the party or Dimitri. His uncomfortableness level has increased.
It could be worse.
So, hey Grace,
Yeah.
Plummet sees what's happening here. You're face to face with greatness, and it's strange. He knows it's a lot, but what's the odd? He's staring at it.
Wow.
You're correct. She's somewhat immune to greatness these days because she's been coming around Dimitri for a long time now.
Get out!
Hey, Little Miss is quite a fan of Plum, she quite likes him.
Yeah. I don't know why, but yeah.
So you find yourself in the spring being taken to the Sea of Flowers. It's what's considered one of the most beautiful places of Ethengari that very few people ever get to see. The most lush grazing land, has more wildflowers than anyone could imagine for as far as you can see.
You know, the flowers made good horse feed.
And in
Good
the
for all movements.
And in the middle of this is a tent city has been erected.
This is going to suck.
Quick question. Are we level 8 or 9 at the moment?
I think you're level 9.
Level 9, I believe.
I would trust your level. For once.
At least, well, Dimitri's level 9, but it has been for the last couple of seasons, so.
Okay, so you know the place is called Xanathar in the Sea of Flowers.
I've actually read about this place.
Next to the lake, Talkai. It's considered a great honor to be summoned by the Khan who runs Ethengar.
Yes, great one. I am very honored.
And as you arrive on the edges of the camp, people are chanting Plowman's name.
See, that's awesome.
Can my character leave?
Plowman goes about playing the hero and waves and smiles. I assume Rashid's being summoned.
I'm assuming you've been riding him the whole time.
Good assumption. Plum gets a little bit carried away in the fame and waving, but then suddenly remembers that he's being summoned by the Great Khan and this is not going to end well.
Okay, so as you arrive in camp, you are greeted by Kokachin. She is the High Cleric of Yamurga, the Earth Dweller, as well as one of the wives of the Khan.
Yeah. Barman gives a traditional greeting. I don't know.
Okay, give me a, let's see, what are skills in this game again?
Oh, God.
Just making sure I give you the right one to use.
Yeah, I'm just trying to hit on Barman is the noble background. So it would have some sort of yes, nonsense.
Okay, so we will give him a persuasion roll then to see how well he is at accepting and being humble.
Yeah, hang on 2 seconds.
Do you want some hints, Dimitri? I'll give you assistance on being humble.
Okay. This is gonna go well. Just plug my correct map. Such a great app. So, 14.
14. Okay, you do manage to not trip over your words. It's been so long since you've actually had to give a proper Ethengarian greeting. And you can see that she's amused by your lack of grace with it.
Okay.
And she asks you to dismount and join her.
So how's the rest of the party been treated during these last 5 days? While Parliament's been hailed as a hero.
Well, as you've been riding, they have been talking in Ethengarian around you, so they treat you politely, but sort of point you towards Plowman.
Barman dismounts with great hesitancy.
She says you look well for someone who does not come home very often.
The tasks of the world must be completed regardless of home.
She says, Kanchi, your teacher, wishes to speak with you before you see the Khan.
That would be lovely.
Okay. And she says your friends may join you at your discretion.
Oh, okay, great. Friends, come, follow. You must meet my teacher. I'm sure this won't be humbling in any way.
Dimitri privately thinking that, well, I'm sure it'll be disappointing for the teacher.
Okay, so you meet with a elderly person who with red felt skirts and white horsetails hanging from a conical felt hat.
One awkwardly tries to not get hit. Without looking like he's trying to not get hit.
He has white fangs drawn either side of his mouth.
Yes. So great. Sorry.
Okay. You said drawn, not actually real fangs.
Not real fangs, drawn.
No vampires in this game. Oh, yeah,
Dimitri's still a little late at the moment, so...
You didn't follow with the others?
I assume the rest of the party did go in. So, Dimitri certainly followed. He's interested to actually potentially meet one educated or learned person within the realm.
Oh, wow. Plumman bows respectfully and greets on the teacher.
He says, rise, horse lord.
Rises.
The
Respect.
Khan has been instructed to offer you a spirit quest in the morning.
Offered by who? What?
a spirit quest where you get to ask the great spirits 3 questions you desire to know the answers to.
I don't want questions.
Well,
And why would the Khan be instructed to do anything? Who instructed the Khan?
I did, he said.
Oh, okay.
And then raps you on the back of the knuckles with a stick.
No! Damn it! Hey, you should see Regem. Regem is badass.
Yes, Regem is why you got the invite to the spirit quest.
Oh, but not from my own actions. Undefeated champion of the world, but still, no. It's because of Horse. Always because of Horse.
Horse is a nice horse. He likes horse.
It's amazing. Regem has always been a king. That's why his name is Regem. It's kingly. But, you know.
Well, he always had the more nobility than you in the clans. You know that, don't you?
Yes.
He shows you though.
He's a king. He's Regem. Like.
Yes, always much more potential than the other one.
So
Did you say that out loud?
He says it quietly under his breath, yes.
You do hear another swag. This time, Dimitri's knuckles get hit. Dimitri's not exactly sure where it came from because no one's standing next to him.
No, I was going to say yes. I was going to keep reading it at the moment because again, what the?
And when you ask your 3 questions, you will get 3 answers relating to those questions, plus 1 about something you do not wish to know about.
Oh, great. So what should I ask? I don't know. Ask?
This is between you and the spirits, though it is basically a chance for you to serve the people.
Why is it always spirit? Spirit this, God this, divine this, underworld this, all world this? Why can't we just go and have war and fight goblins like good Uyghur people? None of this overarching nonsense. I just want plain life. Why do we always have to be involved in this big nonsense?
Because you brought a relic of the spirits into the land.
I didn't bring anything.
The green seed which you stole from the mages, the spirits are angry that you brought it here.
It's not my idea. I didn't want to do this.
But you are responsible for all of them in these lands.
I'm a lot of things, but I'm not responsible for this idiot who points to Dimitri.
Mm-hmm.
I
didn't bring us here. If it was up to me, we would have gone back via Galantry and therefore just skipped all the way home.
Yes, but you're dumb. No one listens to you.
So the spirits...
No. The fact that no one listens to me indicates everybody else is dumb.
Yes, go, God boy. Why don't you go back to Hollywood and go rule there?
So the spirits have asked that you all journey with you, that the rest of them journey with you as your spiritual guides.
What?
Each of them will be given a task.
Balak points at Dimitri.
I'm sure you understand. I'm sure you recognise that Dimitri talking to the old man saying, I'm sure you recognise that, hey, this one's hard to guide anywhere. That we all must try to pass on our knowledge.
He looks at you and says, he who wishes to be called the son of a god should be careful who he guides.
Yeah.
All must be led to the path of correct truth.
Every truth has a grain of acceptance in it, but if you follow another person's truth, you're not following your own, he says.
But then that's not the truth, obviously.
Okay, Sun Tzu, let you settle down. Like, we don't need philosophy here. Okay, so we go to gods and see the thing. Do we have to do that before we see Khan or after?
The Khan himself...
He explained the Khan was going to give you the quest, so presumably we asked
Shut
him.
up, Dimitri. Let me ask question.
And he says, your overly insightful friend is correct. You will be given this quest by the Khan himself. And his wife will accompany you as the person to open the way. He says that while the Khan will give you the quest, it's Kokichin who will accompany you on the quest.
Oh, okay, so we see Khan. Do we see him now? Because I just want to get this done. I don't want this.
You will see him in the morning. He has arranged a celebration in your honor. You have the rest of the day to make your peace with this world.
Wow, that's not ominous at all. Thanks.
He does say that of all those who take on this quest, only 1 in 10 comes back without some form of insanity or madness. And of those that come back with madness, 7 do not come back at all.
Well, it's a good thing I'm undefeated champion of war.
Can I lean in and just whisper, it's okay, you are lucky guy.
Well, when you say 1 in 10 and 7 in 10, is that total numbers or groups that might go on these quests?
He just looks at you and says, you will find out as you progress.
Never mind, Dimitri, you're so wise, you'll be fine. It's okay. I'm only praying you're 1 in 7. Maybe 7 in 1.
Obviously, I am not concerned, but I'm worried about the fact that there are 7 of us here. So, that means the rest of you aren't coming back.
We can only pray that that is not the case.
Says that the Khan will give you more information. He does not wish to steal the Khan's thunder. So I'm just going to ask Ariadne a quick question.
Have you eaten? Do you need food?
I probably need food. I haven't eaten.
Is it just something off the top shelf this one? And
That's
no, I
fine. You guys
appreciate
want to do this if you want to not. Let me know. You're allowed to come.
Well, I'm leaving the instruction works that you'll need us.
Who'll make it?
Oh, Christ. Well, you don't have to go. Let's be honest, it's my spirit quest. I probably won't need you anyway. But, this is going to be lame and boring and I don't like it.
Well, think about the sort of questions that you might ask.
How do I kill Dimitri? That is first question.
And of course, you were told the fact you'll get 3 answers, and one of which an answer to a question you don't like, don't want to hear. What they didn't tell you is...
every time you answer questions.
What they didn't tell you is that the 3 answers would or would not be correct answers.
Yes, I'm aware of how fickle ghosts and spirits are. We have dealt with them before.
Indeed.
And while you're discussing it, a childhood friend of Plowman comes up and greets him. He is greeted by Mangai, the eldest son of the Great Khan.
Oh, Mangai, what did you do? How did you hit? Look, you've even grown. How have you grown? You're too old to grow.
He says he's been having fun beating up the heretics to the north. Those Haldanic knights all deserve to be put to the sword.
Oh, I mean, just about anyone who's against the Guardian might deserve that, except for maybe most of these guys, 6 to 7 is okay. Sorry, yeah, 5 to 6 is okay. But, so you've been out there actually fighting. You really fighting.
Yes, it's his favorite pastime.
Oh, it's so nice to see you finally doing some work for once instead of kissing your father's arse.
Well, it's a shame you missed the wedding.
You got married?
Yes, he got married while you were busy apparently saving the world.
Well, someone has to say, well, you're sitting around here getting married and, yeah, you know, playing grabbers with the knights, like, some of us have to do the work.
Well, he's happy that it was you saving the world while he got married because, well, you were competing for her hand.
I do not need woman, I just need empire.
That's what he said.
There you go. Look, if it makes you feel any better, later on I can challenge you and kill you and take her for myself.
He just laughs at that.
Okay. Now tell me, what's going on? What is happening in Kingdom? Who do I have to kill today?
So today, depends on who you want to kill.
I don't want to kill anyone, really, but I imagine I'm wrong, yeah?
Can I slowly move out of my new side for him?
You can, yes.
Yeah, I just like to quietly do that.
You see that there is a dwarven contingent in there while the two Ethengarians are off having a catch up. You see that there is quite a few different tribes here altogether. You've not heard that the Ethengarians have been getting along well. It's one of the scariest things in the region that the Ethengarians are now getting along.
Yeah, that happens.
Well, Demetri will actually spend the evening circulating someone to get a feel for the political climate on the idea that, so, if they don't normally gather together like this, then that's potentially something that Demetri will want to know about. But I'm going to tuck away for just a moment. I'll be back in a few minutes.
All good. So yes, you get a night of drinking, music, celebration. Everyone refers to you as either the Horse Lord Plowman or the Horse Lord Plowman's associates.
Nice. Well, I'm going to obviously parade Richet around as much as possible.
And you notice he is not the only celestial horse here.
Nice.
With the night's festivities and having a place of honor to rest, you are working in the morning to the sounds of music and drums. And outside your yurt is a honor guard of 5 of the clan heads.
Oh, guys, is this really necessary?
They are giving you a honorific escort to the Great Khan's tent, which also means that unlikely to disappear and skip out of it.
What good it is it? God. Okay. Let's go then. Even though I could probably kill all of you, let's go.
And they are also bringing along the rest of you. Because apparently everyone has been summoned with you.
Come on, lords, let's go.
Who's doing the Slavic accent?
That would be David.
It's pretty good.
YOLO.
I am back and listening, but I'll be on mute for a bit while I'm having my dinner.
All good.
Ah, our favorite time. Dimitrios. Unable to talk. Unable to bullshit.
You are escorted through crowds of cheering people to the largest pavilion in the Sea of Tents. It's big enough to hold a stadium.
Go. Why do they move this all the time? That's ridiculous. Why would they?
They move it once every 3 months.
That is not good. It's good. Anyway, never mind.
And it bears the seal of the Golden Khan on the front of it.
Right.
You are walking into the court of the Great Khan.
Can't wait to get screwed over here. Alright, let's go.
Okay, inside you see him with his family, his sons and daughters.
Quick question that Dimitri might know the answer to, and if he doesn't, I'm happy that I don't know the answer to it. just confirming, the politics of Ethengar, the Great Khan, is that actually something that would get moved between different clans within the Ethengarians, or is it fought over on a regular basis, or is it something that he managed to hold, this particular clan held on to for generations, or?
The title of Great Khan is probably the thing that is talked about as if it was like a half-breed amongst other races. So a Great Khan unites more than one Khan together.
Oh, okay, so there hasn't been a Great Khan for a long, long time.
Normally they get assassinated the moment they start their rise.
Right, okay.
No one really wants to see them. It's sort of like as if the Etrurian were uniting.
Yep, that makes sense.
And he's held this position for 9 years now. So as you step in, you see him. He is battle scarred. He shows many different marks across him, and he is taller than most of the Ethengarians you have seen, standing at about 5'7". Most of the Ethengarians are about 4.5 feet tall.
I'm 5'2", 5'3". I can't
Super
exactly complain, but yeah.
Longman is actually only slightly shorter than.
And he greets you warmly.
Longman bows respectfully.
He sticks out his hand to shake yours.
You know, it's
You find him stronger than you expected.
not surprised.
He is known as the fiercest warrior in the lands.
Greetings, O Great Khan. It's a pleasure to be summoned by this one.
He has been instructed by the shamans that you have a task ahead of you. And
I
you...
live the spirit's behest.
Spirits be crazy as usual, he says.
Oh, you have never been so right.
But they have requested that you take on a spiritual quest into the World's Mountain in the land of Black Sands.
Really? Okay.
Once you reach the summit of World Mountain, you may ask your questions.
To maintain appearance, Monument bows respectfully. Then it shall be done.
He also says that this year the spirits have introduced some complications into your spirit quest that they don't normally give.
And what is that? Oh, great Scott.
Each of you will also be given a quest by the spirits.
Thanks.
And amongst you get to choose which quest you do and which ones you don't. With the price,
well, that's
with the price of choosing not to do them explained to you.
awesome. Then it shall be done, Great Khan.
There's on completion of the task the spirits have assigned to you, he requests that you return here because he has need of a great captain.
Captain Great Khan, I will be on.
Because it's almost time for the Khanate to rise up and show everyone what horse lords can really do.
Yes, our fascists would say that. It would be my honor, O Great Khan.
And maybe you can earn yourself your own Khan, he says.
I would not dream of anything so great. drink.
Well, Regime deserves a Khan to ride him. He is of his own horse's stock.
Yes, but Regime chooses what Regime chooses. I live to be worth it to him.
He still likes horses from descendant from his own.
Well, there you are, obviously, of your great line, or great law.
Just introduce your friends to me and what you think of them.
Oh, I'd love to, oh great God! You finally given me a task that I will enjoy. Okay, so, this is not weird, she's genius. Magic a bit odd, but genius. Really, really smart. This is Captain Red, Captain Scarlet, others formerly known as simply Red, three halflings in trench coats, all of the one thing. He is horrifying sometimes, and also a pain, but pretty useful. What's the character's name again?
Well, they
Trellen.
Sorry?
Trellen.
Oh, this is Trellen. Trellen is different now. I'm not really sure what to say, but Trellen is all well, the artist currently known as Trellen used to be good, so now I can only imagine even more useful. Really good at punching things, doesn't need weapons. Weapons for suckers, apparently. Let me see. Who else? Who remains? Have I missed anyone? No?
So have you?
Oh, this one. Oh, no. So that is an asshole. He is pain in my asshole. And he is rude, arrogant, asshole. I would be happy if he died tomorrow, but sometimes he is useful. So I love him to death.
Your asshole, why did you let him in there?
Good question.
Yep.
Is this discussion going on in Ethigaria?
Yes, but you all have a necklace that translates everything
We do,
for you.
yes.
I'm quite happy for it to be commented.
It was actually coming in. My Skype kept dropping out. I was thinking, damn it, I'm going to miss my introduction. Has Dimitri ever heard of this World Mountain or Black Sand?
No, because it's not spoken of outside of the lands of Ethinger. And
So yes, great dog. These are my mostly my friends.
okay, so he goes over to Captain Crimson and extends his hand to shake his hand.
I shake his hand.
He says, welcome, and what ship do you sail, he says.
It is a mutually allied ship. It tends to appreciate trade with a lot of different people. I call it the Powerbreaker, but that's just a cool name, nothing to worry about. And I would be more than happy to discuss if you needed any help with trade or, transporting troops and.
John is a smuggler and a pirate. He's very, very good at what he does.
Hey, I am now a lord. I do not use those words. I appropriate things, and I supply them.
So, pirate captain then, he says.
Yes, very much so.
And he sticks his hand out to Little Miss.
Extends his hand out.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll shake his hand.
He greets you, and he does speak Mackay quite fluently.
Oh,
Too
nice.
cold, let me know when I'll do it again.
As he greets you in the style of the islands.
I'll return in kind and, very warmly thank him for the reminder of home.
Then he does the same to Dimitri, sticks out his hand.
Dimitri's apparently too busy eating to be involved with the Great Khan.
Well, somewhat, but Dimitri is happy to recognise the kind presence. Greet him.
So, and he says, so you're the pain in Plowman's behind, ass, he says. And what do you...
interpretation of who is the pain to who may be up for some debate.
Well, it may also be up to the debate of the audience, he says.
Indeed. But, so I'm trying hard to teach the hero of Ethengar about the wider world.
Yeah, he laughs at that and
he become the hero that Regem deserves him to be.
The handle of an axe starts making its way towards your head.
And then he moves on and he sticks his hand out towards Trellen.
Hello, I'm honoured to meet you.
It says it's not very often that Elven travel these lands.
Oh yeah, it's good to have my esteemed colleague here with me. Make sure I don't fall into any trouble.
He also greets Bradshaw and says that there are dwarves of Rockholm are currently helping them build some siege equipment. And he's sure that...
He introduced Bradshaw very kindly.
And then he greets Sir Clovis.
Well, that's a good.
And how does Plumman introduce Sir Clovis?
A little bit friendly, a little bit insulting.
Well, it's a bit hard to be friendly to someone who brings in a animal that eats the tribesmen, considering they think of the horses as tribesmen.
Yeah.
And the Khan gestures you all to sit down and enjoy some meals of the realm, he says. As you've been provided with various meats, fruits, and vegetables on platters.
Plumman immediately dives into the most basic food that he can find.
You have memories of growing up because he seems to have served some of the foods from where you spent most of your youth.
Nice. So I don't know if you remember Plumman's winger.
I don't remember all of it, but I thought I would leave it up to you.
Yeah. So Plumman's a winger from up north, the ones that like fight goblins and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So you have a quite interesting meal. There is no alcohol here.
Yep.
Dimitri's happy to partake of a selection of the items, mostly appreciating the fact that it's not actually from Moldavia.
That would help. And when you finish the meal, the Khan says he now offers you a chance to do your very own spirit quest. Each warrior or aspirant to serve the nation is offered a chance in their life to go and ask 3 questions of importance. And the gods will answer.
Well,
But only Playman can ask those questions.
Playman agrees.
Dimitri quietly says to himself and to those that might hear around the fact that, the question is going to be wasted if I send in Playman.
Axe handle.
The Khan does say that the hero you will be is normally determined by what you ask.
I have faith in the bravest among us.
So does Dimitri.
Yeah, because he's the bravest of all.
I'm just trying to make him look good in front of his big boss, okay?
No accent.
So, do you accept the quest?
Playman does, yes.
Okay. So, you have a white spear handed to you.
Cool.
And he says, until you complete the quest, you cannot draw blood.
So no drawing blood.
Or striking anyone with that weapon or any other weapon.
Damn it!
I was thinking when you said it was a white spear, I thought,
Yeah.
it looks like a white feather. And apparently it is.
Drawing blood and striking someone, two very different things.
You are now the Holy Quester. Who do you choose as your guardian? He says.
Does Playman have any information on what this role of guardian is?
They're the person who has to do all the fighting for you.
Yes, pick me. I jump up and down.
Can Playman pick the game?
Yeah, well that was my first thought. No, so Playman actually picks Martin's character.
Okay.
He says that is an interesting choice. And Kokachin will also...
Like, really, there's something about his name I can't remember it.
Trellen.
It's wrong.
And he says his
Still looking at her.
one of his wives, Kokachin, will also go with you, the High Priestess of Umurga. Those who travel within the sands have been warned to not stray from their spiritual guide or from the spear. Once you enter the lands of the Black Sands, you will be stepping into the lands of the dead.
Okay. Sounds it's him. Yeah.
No life
Dimitri
exists.
slightly says, so others were in like it either. Again.
Nothing living exists. Nothing living Nothing living exists in there except those who travel with the spirit guide and the quest giver.
Well,
Is magic impacted?
What was that?
Is magic impacted?
Depends on the magic. He says.
Can you elaborate?
Summoning the dead will not go down well.
Okay, that's fair enough. That makes sense.
And trying to summon the light will,
Magic that suddenly fails or anything like that.
and summoning the light will fail.
Guardian Leviosa.
So how do people get light in there?
They don't. They travel with the spiritual guardian who provides light with her prayer. And the spear itself will also provide light. Between the two, if you step out of the light, you step out of the living.
So don't wander off the path or leave the guide.
Except for dark vision.
Well, that depends. Do you mean if we step out of the light, we will die?
Usually, yes, he says.
Good to know.
We've dealt with such a situation before.
That is good to know, he says.
Is there anything else we need to know, Great Khan?
Yes, the spirits themselves are somewhat angry with you and your actions. And as such, they have chosen a personal quest for each of you that you'll hear on the world's mountain.
Awesome. Can't wait.
I'm pretty excited.
You're always excited.
I'm in. I'm all for adventure and, you know, anything that helps out farming. I'm good with. Particularly if Captain Red's coming along.
How far is the travel to this world's mountain? Is there mapping available?
Okay. So, he pulls out a map and lays it out. You are currently at Sandton, where you can see the little white hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the world's mountain is over here. See that big border around there?
Yeah, and all of that, the lighter colour like that is actually only Ethinger, isn't it? The Ethinger Zane?
That is all Evengar, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And what was the limitation on Plarman's ability to fight?
Can't do it.
So you can't just walk around with that spear.
Can't attack anyone?
Yeah, I can't attack anyone. I can't do that.
If
So
he,
I'm just gonna probably sit my ass on Rajette.
So what if someone attacks him?
if he strikes anyone before the quest is over, these spirits will not protect you in the lands of the Black Sands.
Yeah, so Rajette has to rely entirely. No, we can't. Rajette has to rely entirely on his diplomacy and quick wit.
He also says Regem is a celestial creature and unable to enter the lands of Black Sands.
Yes!
Yeah. Why am I not good news. Good news. My two other horses aren't here.
Yes, but no one takes animals into those lands because there's nothing for them to eat or drink.
Do we need to be wearing warm clothing for this?
How about the blood? But never mind.
It does not matter what you take with you, but you must take everything you need to survive. Food, water for up to 7 days.
Yes, but is it cold?
Yes, and hot.
And hot. Okay.
It is whatever you. It's whatever you least like.
It's going to be whatever we don't want it to be at all of the time.
The lands of the dead are the most uncomfortable you'll ever be, no matter where you come from.
And we're able
There's challenges for that title.
to obtain some supplies before we embark.
He will get you basic necessities if you need it. What basic necessities do you need?
I was thinking maybe a slightly warmer cloak, and just topping up rations and water and things like that.
He's
What
able.
limitations are there on what we can do?
He says what you can do is provide guidance and protection to the quest giver.
Oh, they're allowed to attack things, are we?
Says
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are.
Yeah, it's just me that can't do anything.
Though he has a chosen champion, which will be required to do some demonstrations. And they give the chosen champion a rather skimpy outfit.
That That's okay.
Thank God I didn't choose Captain Crimson.
He's elf, so it's cool, isn't it?
Who did choose?
Me.
Ah, yep.
And-
Luckily, I don't.
I chose Trellen. Haha, I remember the name.
And they do a almost full body paint job of Ethigarian symbols of protection for warding off evil spirits before they start on Plarman.
Yeah.
And he says that from the moment
Sorry.
from the moment you leave Xanthia to the moment you return, horses will not be able to travel with you.
Yes, I'm not surprised.
Is this the sort of thing that we want holy water for?
No, bring whatever you want. Don't bring whatever you want. We either will fail or we'll succeed. Don't imagine you probably want to fail.
Don't believe the odds.
Yeah, never tell me the odds.
But you are given a chance to get a blessing from the Khan's favoured pet before you go if you wish to.
Aside from the limitation that Harmon is... Dimitri won't actually say useless. He will be unable to fight until the quest is complete. Can we do that? Is there any other time limits involved?
Yes, you have 7 days from when you enter the land of Black Sands to when you leave it. If you have not left by the 7th day, you'll never leave.
And is there a time limit as to when we must enter by?
Yes, you're expected there by before the full moon.
Which I'm guessing is about 5 days away.
Okay, I'll look at the actual date.
You can get on the idea of 5 days travel.
You have roughly 15 days before the full moon.
Not really enough time to get down to the 5 sides and back again to finish the quest and deliver the green seed.
Not in that time.
Unless, of course, has the night ribbon Ian extended ever gone yet?
It has not.
Didn't think so.
So, you are given provisions, you are given water, you are given rations that are dried. And did Playman wish to meet the Khan's favoured pet?
Yes.
Okay, so the Khan introduces you to Gundai, and you see a large tiger with teeth as long as your forearm. So saber-toothed tiger.
Nice. Lemon bows in respect to the tiger.
You see it bow towards you and let you touch it.
He does.
And for the first time in your life, you actually get to experience a saber-toothed tiger purring.
Aww. Such a good kitty.
And you have
He
heard
gives it some scritches behind the ears.
you have heard stories of how this cat has fought beside the Khan in many battles.
Yeah. Yep. What a fascist dictator.
And he also acts as guardian of the family.
Yep. The protector of a fascist dictator.
You say that like's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. I just want to be that fascist dictator.
You said you didn't have any ambitions, you can't.
I never said such. Never anything.
You just said it. You said I was not worthy to lead a Khan. You just told the great Khan that.
No, not a Khan. My entire kingdom.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yep.
I got the understanding that these guys are very heavily based on the Immortals, right?
They are.
Oh yeah.
Yep. The second you say you're interested in it, they kill you.
Yeah.
I think he's doing the right thing.
I don't want him to know that I want him dead.
Or that you want to be killed.
Yeah.
You remember witnessing some of his swordplay as a child, and you have not seen his equal.
Yeah, no, dude is horrifyingly powerful. The fact that he is the Great Khan and has been for more than 2.5 days is incredible.
Absolutely.
And rumors are he actually scared the goblins out of the steps.
Yeah. So, in truth, I want to be him, but I also don't want him to be dead.
Okay. So as you step out of the tent, you have cheers unlike anything you've ever experienced before.
I miss the kid.
And there are people chanting Plumman's name for as far as you can see.
As it should be.
Though it's also the same thing most of them do when someone brave goes off to their death.
As it should be.
Which for them, that they're unsure which one it is, so they're giving you the best send-off they can.
Cool. Alright.
For your efforts in the last year, you have earned that respect.
Whereas obviously, when people hear Dimitri's name, there's no ambiguity about the process.
No, they are entirely sure that Dimitri is an asshole.
And
I know, well, I guess. So I guess the best thing was, let's Trellen, I really hope you're up for this. I chose you because you're pretty useful. I hope I made correct choice.
So I get to take my flame tongue longsword and my longbow of venom and my artifact. So
You take whatever you want.
it's fine. I'm all set.
Did Trellen have to do any demonstration, or was it just getting painted and wearing skimpy clothing?
well, he got painted and the skimpy clothing. You assume that the actual thing will happen while you're traveling.
Oh, okay. So, I got the impression it was sort of like, hey, the after-dinner entertainment is, let's see how good the champion is.
Yeah, no. You know that if we succeed, you'll be a hero of Ethica, right?
Oh yeah. I'm banking on it.
Like, you'll be like an Ethengarian elf.
And that will be the honour of not riding a horse.
No, you have to ride horse after this.
Well, you don't get to ride a horse, so...
Oh, no, it's okay. Like,
I get the impression none of us are riding horses for the next few days, except of course Dimitri.
Why is that?
Well, his phantom walk will still work.
Dimitri has magical bullshit.
That's right. His phantom walk will still work.
Well,
You won't be scared of a white spear.
So do you summon your phantom horse on the first day's travel?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, is that while you were in the realm of the dead, or...
This is
No, this is as we're leaving, or like in order to leave the Great Khan's encampment.
okay. So
Just unmute for a second.
the moment you sit on your phantom horse, you see Kokachin strike it with a staff, and your horse dissipates.
I lost so much.
It's not real, it matters not.
She looks at you and says, "It's the journey that matters. The transportation should not be used."
So you're saying no horses?
She says, "No transportation. Use your feet."
So, for me, I can travel at 50 foot around.
You're walking slow.
Is that okay?
You can walk fast, but you're stuck walking the speed of everyone else, which is 25 feet around because you have a dwarf.
Okay.
Yep.
Since I became a lord and everything, I fixed my stilts.
Yep.
Can I still walk with them, or do I need to take them off?
Have you been pretending to be a human the whole time?
No, I'm just a very tall halfling.
Okay.
I no longer hide them. The stilts are kind of like built into my clothes. It's a funky thing as opposed to a secret now.
Right.
She says the stilts don't walk for you.
Right, I'll take them off and change my pants then.
Well, no, I think that meant that you could wear them because they weren't actually doing the walking.
Oh, fair enough. Well, that gets all this. The main reason I like them is they're kind of like built-in scabbards for my swords. But no functional value, they just look kick-ass.
Takes you 3.5 days of walking through grasslands. And on the second day, you leave the Field of Flowers. And on the when you get to the midday on the third day, you see that the land just stops at what appears to be dirt. There's just a line of grass in the sand.
On the probably the second or third night of travel, Martin.
Yep.
Dimitri's going to try and contact Yelm via the diamond to inquire as to whether this world mountain in the Black Sands leading into the world of the spirits, where you don't want to be caught without light, with the light of the elves will burn brightly in that land.
Okay. So you managed to contact him.
Right. So I'm happy to risk roll the dice for risking the potential quantum effect.
I'll let you roll the dice.
Oh, okay. Next percentile, isn't it?
Yep.
Where am I? 55. So I think that should be okay.
That should be fine. Okay, so you get in touch with Yelm. Yelm tells you that the land of Black Sands is where the borders between the living world and the world of the dead have been shattered.
Uh-huh.
And it was caused by the elves.
Awesome.
So different to the land of Moldavia as a land of the dead?
This is a land that died, not the land of the dead.
That's right. It's not the land of the undead.
So,
But yes. So we've been told that being separated from the light of a white spear and a guide from the Ethangarians, leaving that sphere of light would be likely death. Will the light of the diamond also provide protection?
it will not.
Okay.
The gods cannot help you once you step past that line.
Okay. Useful to know.
Only the spirit guide and the quester can actually provide protection. As long as the quester takes no life or takes no aggressive act.
That should be no problem at all. Sure.
Should we tie his hands or something like that so he doesn't accidentally stab someone?
Well,
You can try if you'd like to be accidentally stabbed.
Hey, who is the most disciplined fighter in the fucking fruitcake group?
Dimitri.
Wrong.
He doesn't lose his cool in the combat.
Is this the point, David, where I jokingly mentioned a certain person with a griffin?
The commandant doesn't have any stoicism within a fight.
Look, all I'll say is that, yeah, you keep cool in your fight, but that's just about all you ever do in a fight. You don't do anything.
The question was, who is the most cool, calm, and collected within a fight?
Oh, no, we're outside the borders of where I can hit people with.
You can't hit people since you picked up the spear.
That's right, you're carrying the spear, so you're stuck. And Dimitri has not even tried to take advantage of it, at least beyond verbal.
Doesn't this mean that Trellen, as a sign of honor, has to hit him for it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm happy to smack Dimitri.
No, first of all, don't ruin it for me. I was going to play that card.
But I guess the question is, do we do it inside the land of the dead or outside the land of the dead?
Krokachin interrupts you and says you should wait till morning before entering the lands of the dead, so you have 7 full days of travel. Because if you're in the lands of the dead when sun sets on the 7th day, you will not be able to leave it.
Alright.
Yes.
No, if we entered on the evening before the 7th day, does that not give an extra 12 hours?
She says if you enter at night, you cannot leave again.
Makes sense?
You can only enter during the day. And the day you enter counts as one of your 7 days.
Yep, cool.
You cannot eat, drink, or bring with you anything you find in the lands.
Yes, we have no need to be Persephone.
And she says, be wary of touching that what you find inside, because it is known to burn or cause long-term damage to those who touch it.
And like certainly I'm thinking that these are discussions we're having in these few days leading up to it, but the what do we expect the terrain to be like within there? Are we climbing a mountain the entire 7 days? Or?
No, we will be spending 2 days traveling to the mountain, 1 day on the mountain, and 2 days back is the expected time. Sometimes it takes longer to get there, sometimes it takes less. The ground itself is like stepping on glass, broken glass the entire way. No one from the clans would ever bring an animal in here because he would not survive. And
we want some sturdy boots then, is that what you're saying?
she does recommend that the halfling use his stilts most of the way, if he has no actual boots.
I have boots, they're just on the stilts, they're kind of multi-purpose.
The land here has not had any growth since it formed.
Okay.
And any food you bring in with you should be left here, as well as water.
Guys, in about 5 minutes of this reception.
In about 5 minutes you lose reception? Okay, we'll try to speed it up a little bit then.
So hang on, can you say the fact that any food we bring in, we can't eat the food we bring in while we're there, and we just don't bring it back out with us?
You can eat the food and drink while you're there, just don't take it out with you.
Yeah. Does that apply to any other equipment as well?
Yeah, it applies to Dimitri's.
Can we just clarify that when David goes out of reception that I get to make all of his fun moral decisions?
No,
Silly. Okay.
I'm his proxy.
I was going to say, I would trust Martin to make the decisions more than anybody else.
Which Martin, though?
He's chosen champion.
Martin, my future boss, McLash.
Okay, so come morning, you're all given a strange tasting milk.
Okay.
It's drugs.
Of course it is.
Kokujin says the blessing of Yamurga go with you and all those that travel with us. And as she steps up to the edge of the land of the sand, you see a green field form around her, about 10 feet either side of her.
See? Drums.
And she gestures for you all to follow.
Yes, into the magical drum. Let's go! Should be fun.
And as Plumman steps in, you feel the spear in your hands vibrate and also puts off a green glow around you.
Okay. Ready to have this.
Now, I've got a question about artifacts.
Yep.
I assume it'll be okay to transport them.
She says, yes, but you might not hear anything from them while you're there.
Okay, that's right.
Thank God.
Actually, that's a good point. I have a sun sword, or whatever it is, the one that creates light.
Yep.
Should I put that away, or like, will it inherently create light and cause problems, or will it be okay?
She does not know because she's never used a sun sword.
And I've got a flame tongue as well, so I'm happy to do a little bit of a test.
Dimitri suggests that
Science.
those artifacts are not directly connected to they don't get their magic directly from the Immortals, except possibly your sun sword. And as such, normal fire will probably still a bit light. It possibly won't be the sort of light that will protect you from the spirits within the underworld that we're entering.
So from a technical...
my thought is that this magical light probably isn't actual light. It is realm specific.
So from a technical perspective, they explain that anything that does radiant damage does not work here. Okay, so you step in, and as you step in, you feel like you're in the most uncomfortable terrain you've ever been in. Those of you who grew up in hot lands feel the cold. Those of you who grew up in cold lands feel the heat. It's not the same for everyone.
It's like being around Dimitri all the time.
Well, whereas Dimitri's thinking, oh great, so I'm in the hollow world Moldavia.
Your idea of Hollow World Moldavia is my idea of being surrounded by things.
And what a wonderful place that would be.
And looking at the land,
It's Dimitri's now.
the land itself shimmers, and it looks as if it's at a noonday light once you step into it. And you don't see the sun.
So I'll turn on my flame tongue longsword and see if it's dull or whatever.
The flame lights up the blade but provides no light.
Trying to think how I could test.
I'm happy with that. I just wanted to make sure that it didn't like explode or something.
Didn't create a black hole.
Yeah, so I'm happy with that. That's fine. I didn't want it as a light source. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to screw shit up.
And looking around you, it looks as if the ground around you has been melted.
For those that notice, they might realise that Dimitri is apparently somewhat friendly with Kokochin than he's necessarily been for the last few days. He's standing near her.
Okay, so
So going on from here, Plumman basically walks around in complete silence and will only defend himself in the form of avoidance defense.
okay, Kokochin starts leading you towards the world mountain that you can see shimmering in the distance, but she doesn't walk directly there. You see her turning away from it on multiple occasions as she walks.
Sort of unconsciously.
She seems to be following some sort of guidance.
Oh, okay, no worries.
And then every so often she stops and says, "We'll rest here for a few hours."
Velas, get out of here, Velas. Barman will spend his time while walking, giving reverence and respect to the spirits. Something that he never, ever does. He figures he should probably do it now, even if he doesn't mind that.
Well, technically, Regem is one of the spirits.
Yeah, it still doesn't count. Although he is very much picking and choosing what he does and doesn't want, as all dumb atheists will. He's not really even an atheist, he just doesn't want a power greater than him.
Okay, so you believe that it took you 4 days to reach World Mountain.
Oh, it's so screwed.
They certainly wants to make it a fast trip back again. And this obviously is despite the fact of gentle and not so gentle encouragement for Kokochin to speed things along and take a more direct route when it looked like we were taking more than half hour, 7 days to even reach the mountain.
Oh, she tells you each time that the spirits tell her which way to go and when to stop. If you want to disagree with the spirits, you may go on ahead.
When we return from the mountain, is there a handy place we could just step aside, step into the other world? Or are we someone having a particular spot?
It says you may leave from any point, but you need the quester to lead you out.
Okay. I think that means we can.
Yeah, we pass our line.
Yes, it's basically on the shortest trip. It is 1 day out.
Right. Okay.
Okay, you are at the base of the World Mountain. She says to you that the spirits have told her that each of you has a task.
So I've kind of got one.
Well, it says the Golden Khan has asked, has basically provided Plumman with his chance to ask his questions. But the spirits have said that the seed you have collected from the lands of the dead needs to stay dead, and he needs to take it to the top of the World Mountain. Then he says to Dimitri, she says to Dimitri, a dragon spirit has said that you need to right the wrongs of your old friends that have led to the death of a dragon. You must right the wrongs of Boris, Umbra, River, Vinhalen, and Surian.
Do those mean anything to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then she turns to Trellen. Says the spirits of the forest are asking for compensation for the changes made on its behalf. They want you to travel to the good place of near Alphatian and deal with a unicorn there.
When we say deal with, we don't mean.
They don't. She says to you she does not know what they mean by deal with. They've only got the words that they've given her.
Okay.
And she says to Captain Crimson, he needs to fix something before it's too late. As he's so good at it, he needs to destroy the Alphatian Armada before they come and wipe out all the lands.
Sure.
And
Are these quests supposed to be done while we're travelling up the World Mountain, or just in the future?
she says she'll get to that when she finishes telling you each what you must do.
Okay.
And she says to Little Miss, a figurehead that your family has been searching for generations has surfaced. But if you want a chance to claim it, you need to travel to the coast of Hulag in Karameikos.
Yeah.
Yep. For a ship.
Oh. Oh, excellent.
And then to Sir Clovis, she says, your father is dying and your claim to family lands are in peril. You have a short time to return before your family and title will also end. And then to Bradshaw she says, your new clan knows who killed their brother. Vengeance has been called for, blood will be spilled.
Oh, shit.
And now she says, each of you have a chance and time to complete one of these quests. But you must choose which of you is worthy of having their needs met. If Plarman does not complete his quest, then horses will never talk or trust him again. If Dimitri does not complete his quest, then the death of all those close to Dimitri growing up will soon follow. If Trellen does not complete his quest, he will never have a home. If Captain Crimson does not complete his quest, then the entire pirate fleet will sink. If Little Miss doesn't complete her quest, then the Black Flag will rise and wipe out all the islands. If Sir Clovis doesn't complete his quest, then his house will fall, which will start an avalanche that cannot be stopped. And if Bradshaw does not complete his quest, then anyone who dealt with Dr. Dark's death will also have their family line end.
What was Sir Clovis's? There was an interruption just as you said.
So Sir Clovis's one was his father is dying and he needs to return.
Yeah.
And
what was the penalty?
That his house will fall, and that falling of that house will start an avalanche that cannot be stopped.
Okay. Dimitri would be happy with that one. Because obviously he's Corendon and hey, they'll reduce the effects of the Karameikos plant within Caldara.
So avalanches don't care who they collapse on.
Oh yeah, no, you realise there'll be fallout from it, but hey, amongst all ones that we offered,
I'd say my one is one where I could live with it.
the implication being that we've only got time or the opportunity to do one of the quests, so everyone else must fail. Is that the implication?
That is the implication, she says to you. The spirits have said that you can choose who amongst you is most worthy of having their needs met.
Well, I believe the question would be more appropriately phrased as to which effect is likely to have the greatest impact upon the world that needs to be saved.
The pirate Armada.
If the pirates fall, they sink. The pirates sink. That's good for shipping and trade. That's right. Good for shipping and
No,
trade.
because that's stuff that we supply to all the way up and down. I know we steal stuff, but we also sell stuff.
But the supplies can be done by honest tradesmen, honest merchants.
So, Jeremy, for
suggesting that pirates are not honest.
Correct.
By definition.
Dimitri would know that the pirates have kept the Thayatan Empire's navy in check for many generations.
There you go.
Alright, there is a consequence.
There is a consequence to each one, even if it seems little.
Oh, certainly, there's definitely consequences to all of them.
And technically, we could achieve 2. Because Bradshaw needs to get justice, right? And Bradshaw needs to get justice for the death of Dr. Dark. And I'm the one who assisted him.
Well, technically there are multiple of us who might be involved in that particular consequence.
Oh, no, it was me. and that might be like we should consider that as an option. I'm not saying I want to, but I'm bringing it up as a point. I'm very much about atonement these days. I don't know if you guys noticed.
The consequence for Dr. Dark was that all those involved, Bradshaw's was that all those who were involved in the death of Dr. Dark, their line would be extinguished or something?
Yes.
Is that going forwards and backwards?
Yes. Their lines would cease.
And I did kind of, have a big hand in some stuff that we did before. So if I ceased, would that undo that, Martin, or would I just cease to exist?
They would stop at a set point in time.
Indeed, well, so the implication that I got was the fact that it wasn't necessarily the individual would cease, it's just that all those in the line would cease. So,
well, I haven't got any line at the moment, so that's...
Which is actually something that, from Dimitri's perspective, he's figuring the idea of, well, he hasn't got any progeny yet, but there is certainly at least one figure in his ancestry that the world could do with being removed. And it would be, although it would be also interesting whether or not the Immortals are also affected by that, in the sense that whether it also kill Haleth. The removal of the vampire Karameikos would be probably a bonus, but removal of Haleth would be a problem.
Though the Immortals and the Undead might not be able to spill that much blood.
Oh, so their blood would be spilled at the line, was it?
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Are we in a holy place right now?
You are.
Well, a very spiritual place, that's for sure.
Can I pull out my book?
You can pull out your book, yes.
Can I just take a few steps away? Like, I'm not trying to hide anything, but I just want to get a bit quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And can I drop to my knees and pull out the book? And can I ask if Siramak...
As you start moving away, Dimitri will say, remember, don't go out of the line.
No, I just want like a couple of steps away so I've got space around me. And I would like to ask if Siramak would be willing to give me an audience right now.
Okay. Pulling out the book, you don't feel a connection to Siramak here.
Okay.
And even opening the book is currently blank.
Right, okay, worth a try.
So what does the party wish to do?
At the end of the day, I don't think we should do Bradshaw's. I'll have to take the consequences for that, but that's life.
Well,
so I'd like...
Not the only one involved in that, but...
No, but I feel like we could argue the point that I'm the only one involved to the point where consequences would be laid out.
Raya is also involved as much.
But Raya's not Raya anymore.
Well, no, Raya's still Raya, just he was going through the Hollywood getting out of the...
Oh, you're right. No, Raya, for some reason, mixed Raya with Trellen. Sorry, my bad.
All good.
Yeah.
And effectively, the penalty for both Bradshaw and Dimitri's quest won't end up in the loss of Dimitri's line.
Yep. Though Dimitri's one also loses his friends.
Yes. Well, friends growing up. Technically, he didn't have that many friends when he was growing up. So it depends on exactly how far they're going for. What age counts as growing up?
Well, his teachers were also his friends.
Sorry?
His teachers were also his friends.
Yeah, but that's just it. Halia is probably Halia and Halia's husband are probably the only ones who he would actually have particular disconcertion over in that way. Because certainly his family he would care about, and I said, he didn't have any friends when he was a kid, because he was a loner. Can't imagine how that happened or why that would have happened, but... but also, on that line, so whilst yes, obviously, Harley would be bad, he's also not necessarily... as a player, I don't actually remember the adventure where we resulted in the death of the dragon, was it Umaga or something? But also, as I say, he's not necessarily all that concerned. Think, hey, if that group of people were able to kill the dragon probably deserves to die. You know, it was that stupid. So, yes, in some ways, Dimitri less concerned. Dimitri is certainly not putting forward the idea of it has to be his quest to be done. Because he figures that actually there are more penalties for the world than there might actually be his impact. So the elf could never go home again.
Yeah, but that's a very small consequence.
Well, there's the argument that says as soon as you leave home and travel the world, you can never go home again because home is always different.
Hey, I just had a realization.
That sounds like a technicality and that's not going to fly.
From the spirit world, technicality can be very important.
Just a question, to clarify. If Little Misses doesn't get done, the Black Pirate rises?
The black flag rises over all around the islands, which is going to basically take the pirates out anyway, plus all of my culture.
And wipe out most of the halflings.
But if a pirate armada is removed, will that not have similar consequences?
Different consequences.
Not completely out of the same realm.
Not all the pirates are ready.
Right.
And not all the Randian pirates either.
That is correct.
So let's look at it this way. The consequence of Little Miss wipes out essentially a civilization.
More than one.
Plus the main landing base of all pirates.
Yeah.
Like most of the pirate safe.
I'm good with that. If so, Clovis's doesn't get done, his house falls, which causes a catastrophic ongoing effect of houses falling in battle and warring. I don't know if that's worth it.
But that's going to be causing mainly trouble in
Mystara and the Hollow World.
No, that's more the gnome world.
And honestly, that's kind of thing happens every probably a few hundred years with that anyway.
But okay, the Soldalans are always having a troubled world, and at least we'll get rid of that via influence.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll recover, but hey, they'll be better for it afterwards.
So what are the other consequences we've got?
That I won't be able to go home again.
And that's something that your character is willing to accept?
Well,
I'm happy with that consequence, given the alternative consequences from this campaign.
well,
You've also got to bear in mind Plumman's consequence.
Armament has to be completed as part of the process.
Oh, so Plumman's gets completed regardless.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
But the question with Wallen never being able to go home again, there are possibly two ways of looking at that. In the sense that it could be quite minor, because, as I say, it might be personally a problem for Trellen, and the argument that, well, one can never go home again because home is not the same. But the other alternative might be, which Elven clan are you from? Which forest?
Alphatian.
Alphatian. So, the reason you can't go home again is if Alphatian is eliminated.
And it is. And well, I guess it's that.
Which, based upon the potential consequences of some of the others, certainly does not seem unrealistic as threat.
You think they all have equal weight in what they may do to the region?
Yeah. Can we ask, is there any way that we can change this? Like, we understand that we need to choose one thing, we're not saying we won't, but is there any way that we can change it so that we can address more than one or even all of them?
She does turn to you and say your quester does have 3 questions.
Ah! And he's currently not here, right?
Well, we're also not in a position to ask yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So he will be.
That's something.
So he'll be asked to come up with 3 questions between this session and the next. So which he'll then give you responses to as he chooses.
And and yes, the decision as to actually which of our individual quests we attempt to complete, we don't have to make right now, I'm assuming.
Do you give Plum the seed to put on top of World Mountain?
Why?
Because that was the quest he was given. Beyond the asking 3 questions, he was told to the seed needs to be put on the top of the mountain.
Oh, sorry, I missed that one.
That was the failure for him was horses will never talk to him or trust him again.
Yeah. Well, certainly Dimitri would be opposed to that resolution, because the seed has more valuable requirements to be fulfilled. Although on the plus side, putting it at the top of World Mountain potentially puts it more out of reach of Krakatos. But yes, considering the fact that the reason we were carrying the seed was to return it to the Fire Orcs, so therefore they did not destroy the 5 Shires, Dimitri has little sympathy for the idea of Plyman not being able to talk to horses, or horses not talking to him.
Well, it would mean he would no longer be an Ethengarian, and he would be banished by his people.
And again, from a completely unbiased position, that consequence is a purely individual consequence compared to the world-shattering consequences of most of the others.
Do you remember who had the gem in the first place?
I'm pretty certain Dimitri was carrying it.
Just a question though.
Yep.
We need to think about the future in that one because Plowman has, we're just going to say aspirations. Yes. And if we don't, the ridiculously well-titled main guy, which is the eldest son, perhaps there's some kind of future consequence there where he's going to be avoiding some sort of calamity.
I don't doubt that there could be repercussions.
Right, the guy behind the Great Khan could turn out to be an evil genius.
Yes. And this is the other question. Like, I realise that we're all here as part of a spirit quest and everything, and I'm asking this as a player, not as a character, as a person, not as a character. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Are we 100% sure that these are the consequences?
Oh, no. Yeah, I would.
The other statement is, perhaps in trying to achieve these, do we cause those consequences?
And it's really something that, particularly since David's going to get the opportunity to think and come up with these 3 questions for next session. If it's possible, I'd like Martin to actually email or post up the sort of 7 different questions or whatever it was, and the consequences, so that we can look at the exact wording of them to confirm that. Because as I say, the detail, like the wording, in the idea of, yep, we can interpret the never go home again as potentially there's no home to go to because Alphine's destroyed or eliminated. But if the wording is, if the actual wording implies that, well, that's very unlikely, you can just go, oh yeah, Trellen becomes a homeless bum for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Then that's a lot less impactful.
I can live with that.
Exactly, that's right.
So Krokachin will tell you that they are all prophecies.
Yeah.
And prophecies from her god generally come true.
And yep.
And prophecies have a loophole.
Usually.
And so with each of these, you've been given a prophetic outcome if you don't succeed.
Yeah.
Without actually knowing what the task is in the first place.
That's right. So, well, we've only got very general sense of the task, because obviously in Dimitri's case, well, he's got no real idea about how to go about righting the wrongs to avenge the death of a dragon. So, but that would be something that, if he felt the consequences were dire enough compared to the other options, then we could work out how to go about the quest. So,
okay. She asked, do you wish to converse with the spirit itself?
Well, I'm always happy to talk to knowledgeable beings of the cosmos.
And she says she can anoint you and you can step out of the protection of their light and converse with the spirit. But you must leave everything else behind.
I don't see it being that important.
She says, on the World Mountain, you are the safest you will ever be, as long as you just speak what you want to know. So does Dimitri wish to take up her offer to speak to the spirits directly?
He's thinking about it. The idea of, yeah, talking to people who know stuff, that's always good. Not going in with anything sounds very dangerous, particularly with the original consequences of going out of the light. So, and then trusting in the idea of, oh yeah, she said, yeah, it's great, you'll be fine.
She says, watch what you ask of the spirits, because they will try to trick and lie to you.
That makes sense, that's not uncommon.
And you may not be speaking to the spirit you'll think you're speaking with.
I have recognised that situation before, yes.
But this is the closest you will ever be to the lands of the dead, without dying yourself.
That's not necessarily a bonus in the situation.
She says, while Dimitri is considering that, would anyone else wish to speak to the spirit who has presented a quest for them?
Can I?
So yes, she comes to Captain Crimson and says the same deal applies to you. You need to discard everything from the land of the living before she anoints you, and then you can step out and talk to the dead.
Okay, so is that we're talking about that right now?
Yep. She's doing this while Plyman's getting ready to go up the mountain.
Right, so essentially if I strip naked, I go up the mountain with him.
No, you just basically step out of the light and talk to the spirits.
Yeah. You can go a bit further, rather than a couple of steps to look to try and reach Simrak's book. You can go a bit further and this time actually leave the light. But of course, I say, we have been told leaving the light means certain death. Presumably, the process of being anointed makes that it gives you a temporary option to get away. But
yes I will.
Okay.
I have faith that Simrak wants me to take this path, or that this is the end.
you know the gods have no power or influence in this realm.
He has been setting my path since Baal's born.
Okay, she...
Technically you're not born at this present time when you're in this land.
That does not change my path.
She draws some symbols on you and then blesses you in the name of Umurga. And in the blessing asks that you find what you seek. She says she wishes you luck, but asks that you keep your questions down to 3. Any more than that and you will not return.
Okay.
Dimitri will be watching the process of the anointing type stuff. Does he recognise or follow any of the symbols that have been going on?
Okay, she draws on the symbol of Simrak, followed by a pirate's flag.
Alright. I step into the dark.
Okay.
Do I have to wait while other people ask a question?
No, you can go and do this first while everyone else is thinking. She'll ask, everyone gets a chance to do so. So as you step out of the light, you see the world burning around you. Everything that you remember from your life is burning.
Okay.
And you see a great armada in the air dropping flames from above.
Okay. A great armada of what, flying ships?
Flying-
Or are they just ships?
They are ships of all shapes and sizes beyond anything you can comprehend.
Right, so they're not technically flying ships, it's just kind of like, this is part of the vision showing the ships will destroy us.
From what you've heard, this is the Alphatian Armada,
Okay.
and they fly.
Alright, can I move within this realm?
Everywhere you're looking, you're seeing this.
Right, and is there anyone that I can speak to around? Do I recognise anyone?
You don't even see the rest of the party.
Okay. So I'm seeing this vision, and my understanding is that I can ask 3 questions. I just don't need to ask them to someone in particular.
That is correct.
Okay. How can I avoid this fate for my people?
Okay, you get the vision changes and seems to rewind. You see all the ships flying backwards towards a large island far to the east, which you recognize as being Alphatia.
So Alphatian, yeah.
And a city known as Sunsvar.
Sunsvar.
And sitting around the city are the entire Armada grounded.
Yeah.
And you see yourself setting alight the boats.
Okay.
So they want you to Pearl Harbor.
Pretty much, yeah. Alright. And Martin, I just want to clarify, I'm so invested I wrote notes.
Yep.
Alright. Setting boats on fire. Is that all I see? Are there people with... I'm not asking this question to them, I'm just asking visually. Is there people with me? Am I alone?
You see many fires being set at the same time.
Many fires, okay.
At least
And
eight
next question-
fire. At least 8 fires being set at once.
8 fires set at once. Next question is, do I look any older?
No.
Okay.
There's no mirrors nearby.
No, that's not. But I'm watching this. I'm not doing it. I think is the point.
You are watching it, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So same age. So it's not like this is a future old event that I can do at another time. Okay. Do I see anything else, or is that when that part of the vision ends?
No, the vision's still showing you setting a light to the ships and moving amongst them and burning things.
Okay. Yeah. And that's essentially how I save my people.
Is that what you ask?
No. I'm like, okay, so I'm ready for my next question.
Yep.
The next question is, there have been many different missions set that we've just heard between me and my colleagues. Several which, contradict each other and have consequences that will affect thousands of people, if not tens of thousands. Is there a way of achieving more than one, if not all, of those goals?
Okay. As you ask that, one of the firelighters comes into focus.
Yep.
It's a dragonborn with blue scales.
Dragonborn with blue scales.
Who you've never met.
Okay. Do I have any idea of, like, is he a cleric or does he wear any specific clothing?
He's currently using a flaming battle axe to set everything alight as he goes.
Okay. And do I have any idea who it might be?
No, you have not met him before.
Okay. Would I have, if I tried to use like a history roll, perhaps have knowledge?
As you're looking at him, he seems to turn and look at you.
Okay.
And you can feel something talking to you in your vision.
Okay, and what's it say?
Seeing you soon. And your vision
Seeing
ends.
you soon. Okay. And do I have a third question, or is that it?
That is it. I'm just going to duck off to the toilet while you consider who else is going to ask a question.
Alright, I put my clothes on just to be less awkward for everyone.
And get back up on your stilts.
Yep. You know the stories which everyone has about how Napoleon always had to ride a bigger horse than everyone else? That's kind of me.
As I say, certainly, well, Dimitri's going to actually do it, because, hey, the lure of knowledge is powerful enough to overcome his other misgivings.
And now that you've seen me do it, you know that I come back.
Well, that's part of it too.
Okay, so to your unspoken question, you hear the name Captain Razzle.
Yep.
Okay, so does Dimitri now wish to step out, or does someone else wish to?
Well, as I say, while you're waiting, if Dimitri will do it, whether or not he's going immediately next or whatever, I don't care. But what I was curious first of all was, Dimitri has a much better memory than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, could you actually reread the quests and consequences particularly for Dimitri, but the others as well.
Okay, so the first one is that Plowman is required to put the magic seed that you have brought into the lands on top of World's Mountain, or risk none of the horses talking or trusting Plowman again. Dimitri has been asked by a dragon spirit to stop his old friends and right or wrong that they did, causing the death of a dragon. And that being Boris, Umbra, River, Van Halen, and Surian.
Yep.
With the death of those close to Dimitri following. The spirit of the forest is asking for compensation for the changes made on its behalf to Trellen in relation to a unicorn in a good magic place near Alphatian. Just making sure I actually write some of that down, because I didn't write it all down.
Oh, okay. Oh, actually, there was a box text, therefore it can be changed.
Well, technically,
it's not set in stone, it's not box text.
Technically, all predictions aren't set in stone.
Yes.
Okay. And so, failure is he will always be marked as an outcast with no home.
Okay. Well, that's certainly a lot less. That implies that Alphine's still there, so they're not to accept him.
And the spirit of the sea asks for Captain Crimson to fix something before it's too late. Destroy the Armada of the Alphatians before they wipe out everything else. The main failure for him will be the pirate fleet all dying, their ships will be sunk, and those they have protected will burn. And Arendi Spirit has told Little Miss that a figurehead that her family has been searching for, so one of her ancestors most likely, has surfaced, and she has a chance to claim it for her family. And it will be found in the coast of Halag, right off the Black Eagle Barony. And failure will see the black flag of the Black Eagle Barony rise and conquer all communities nearby. Sir Clovis, his father, is dying, and his claim to family and lands are all in peril if he doesn't return. And if he fails, the fall of his family will start an avalanche of catastrophe that cannot be stopped. And Bradshaw's new clan has vowed vengeance on those who have responsible for the death of Dr. Dark and other members of the family. And they will seek them out and kill them if that vengeance is not sated.
And Dimitri's potentially less concerned about the Dr. Dark, the Bradshaw one now, because what they're saying is that Dr. Dark's family and associates, if we don't seek vengeance upon those responsible for Dr. Dark's death, his family and associates will seek vengeance for Dr. Dark's death. So to me that ends up being the same thing, it's just that, hey, for those associated with the death, avoid getting vengeance.
Okay.
This is Dimitri's thought processes. Certainly the raising of the Black Flag and Arendi and surrounding areas is more disconcerting when I reheard it, because, hey, he knows we're at the Black Eagle Barony and he knows the evil that it represents. And if it's talking about neighbouring areas, including Arendi, then that's a very big area for the Black Eagle Barony to get dominion over. Assuming it's the same distance in all directions.
Well, if you look at the map, I will put the mouse is roughly where the Black Eagle Barony is.
Yep.
And they will basically have this entire region part of their empire.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So it basically means, yes, aside from the Arendi, it's also Keldara or Karameikos.
Yep.
It's also the Five Shires. Now, obviously, Dimitri doesn't know about what Captain Crimson just saw, but has the party actually seen evidence of Drazel's time travels?
Not yet. Not this group.
I didn't think this group had, no. So,
I know it's probably not suiting Dimitri's timeline, but I'm very happy to share what I saw with everyone else, by the way.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy with that.
all good. And it's, obviously, yes, it's the opportunity to chat before the next person, or whether it be Dimitri or otherwise he's available, then certainly, yes, Dimitri will be all keen for passing on everything that goes through.
So did anyone else want to step out before Dimitri does then?
Is Drazel actually with us in this, on these things at the moment?
He is not.
No, okay. But when you reread those consequences, in fact, if we don't do Dimitri, or if Dimitri does not succeed, his friends will all suffer, or like his friends growing up will all suffer, presumably also including River and the rest. But the Bradshaw's one, yeah, seemingly the vengeance was only against those who perpetrated it, as opposed to, we were talking before about it being the entire line being extinguished.
You're unsure, you'd basically have to step out and confront the vision to find out the truth.
Yeah, okay.
From what you saw, from what you heard from Captain Crimson, once he stepped out, he got to see the failure result.
Yeah. So, because yeah, but certainly if if it was the rewording, was basically it was him, the family of Dr. Darker kind of seek vengeance on those who were there at the time when he died. That's on us, or on those present. It has a lot less potential impact for the whole world. So then the loss of entire lines of families or things like that. So okay, well, yeah, if no one else seems to be jumping forward at this stage, Dimitri will go in.
Okay. So when Dimitri steps past the barrier and into the area beyond, you find yourself bathed in all the elements around you: fire, lightning, ice, darkness, and acid, as you see flights of dragons overhead. Everywhere you see around you, they are burning away the land. It looks as if the dragons are going to war.
I'm so sorry.
And humanity is the target.
Yep.
And everywhere where you have been and spent time, you see getting burnt away.
Including the Hollow World?
Including places in the Hollow World.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe not all bad. Spirits of Beyond. This is the future you see if I am unable to right the wrongs of those of my previous companions. Exactly how would I potentially go about righting such wrongs?
It has you. You see the time go backwards, and you find a place in a forest that you remember, and a brass dragon that you remember.
Okay. I'm happy that Dimitri remembers it, but I'm going to need more clarity later on.
At one stage, you encountered and travelled with a brass dragon.
Yeah, okay, that got very, very, very vague memories from me. But
That is close to 6 to 8 years ago.
Exactly, that's exactly.
And promises were made to the dragon.
Promises were made to the dragon. Okay?
Yes. That they would return.
Okay.
Which they never did.
So were they returning with? Were they promised just to return themselves? Were they bringing something with them, or returning to undertake some task that was required?
It is unclear. Or you.
I'll just look like from Dimitri's memories of the event itself.
From Dimitri's memories of the event, you weren't one of the ones who promised to come back.
Okay.
The others all promised it at various points they would come back.
Was he actually present amongst those at the time, though?
He was busily talking to other people at the time.
Okay.
And you did say goodbye to the dragon and hope you would meet it again.
Okay. Yeah,
but that was the closest you made to a promise of meeting it.
Yeah. And as far as Dimitri's aware, River and Co. Are they dead?
As far as you know, they're not dead.
They're not dead. Okay. Yeah.
They left you at one point.
Yeah. Okay. So potentially to complete that quest, Dimitri would have to actually recover or find River and Co. and bring them back to the dragon. So. So yeah, that was his first question, was to be see how we can actually mitigate the effects. Second question. My Arendi companion was warned that the Black Eagle Barony would spread its influence, causing the downfall of all surrounds if she was unable to recover the token of her family. Can I see the spread of the Black Eagle Barony that may eventuate?
You basically get what's like someone looking out to sea and seeing ships fleeing a burning, dying land. Ships flying the black flag.
Ships flying the black flag are fleeing the land.
Yep, that the dragons have been burning.
Oh, okay. So potentially that's still the issue that we're dealing with going. So, okay. Third question. There's been evidence of disturbances in the normal flow of events within the world, leading to the event, the uprising of unusual religions and whatever the other things that were in the Retrian file that was supposed to look out for, bits and pieces, and countries going to war and the like. Are these influences? What would appear to be the base cause for most of these uprisings or instances?
Okay. You get into your mind, you get a symbol of a burning wheel, followed by that of a triangle formed out of 3 hemispheres.
Do they symbols? Does Dimitri recognise those symbols for anything particular?
One is the symbol of Ixion, the god of the sun. And the other one is the symbol of Galantry and the Brotherhood of the Radiance.
Burning wheel is Ixion, I'm assuming.
Yep.
And then triangle of hemispheres.
Let's see, I've frozen again. Lucky me.
Triangle of hemispheres, which is the what was it? There's something about the Radiance.
Yeah, Brotherhood of the Radiance.
Brotherhood, yeah.
So just so you can see the symbols, that is one of the symbols.
Yep.
And that is the other symbol.
Yep. Okay. And that would be 3 questions as far as Reach is concerned.
Yep.
And he will thank the spirits for their guidance and aim to return to the light.
Okay. Does someone else wish to ask some questions?
But certainly, yes, Dimitri will come out with that, explain what he saw, and suggest that potentially each of these doom-laden prophecies, all of our doom-laden prophecies, may also be connected. And that potentially questions that it may be best to be asking the spirits questions not so much specifically related to those prophecies, but trying to find out more about the root cause, because these prophecies might be part of the root cause that Redtree and officially us to investigate. In that they may be so the effects of what we're seeing at the moment is the beginnings that result in those prophecies coming true for the world, even whether individually, and that possibly trying to find out more about this burning wheel and the Brotherhood of Ixion and the Brotherhood of Radiance as to how they might be impacting or causing the problems. We may be able to get to the root cause of all of the prophecies as opposed to trying to fend off individual ones.
So, rather than ask a question about
Will Alphine
the elves, the Alphine elves, their trees are dying, and that is an issue arising from the Shadowlands. Is there a higher order question?
Well, I was thinking that as the example, when Dimitri had this first question related to his and the dragons, which if we don't satisfy that, it's not so much that Dimitri's childhood friend will die. It's a rampaging army of dragons burning the world.
Yeah.
Which obviously means that yes, Dimitri's childhood friends die, but they're actually a fairly minor part of the effect.
It's a minor part.
And so so if we could find out why it is that suddenly the black dragon, so the dragons will arise, the Black Eagle Baroness will gain power, the Alphatian fleet flies over and destroys the Mackay the Erendi lands. There may be deeper questions to ask.
So, I mean, to centre on my question,
Yep.
which is around the unicorn which lives in our fire.
So do you want to step out and see what you see?
Well, I'd like to be able to talk it through first.
Yeah, so it's like talking through about the sort of questions you might ask.
Yes.
Yep.
But maybe that's not worth doing. I've just got to get a chance to see what's going on.
Well,
As a player, you're welcome to ask the other players for advice before asking your questions when you see what you see.
So Dimitri would certainly suggest that yes, you may well find it appropriate and worthwhile to try and find out specific information regarding your particular quest and the results thereof. But he definitely suggests that at least one or possibly two of your questions may be broader in scope rather than specifically related to individual questing.
All right. So,
And so as far as his broader questions might be, would be the sense of what is it, like effectively, what is it that Ixion and the Brotherhood of Radiance are doing or not doing? Like, so from a religion perspective, but
yep.
are the but
Okay, to the button.
that's right. The Dimensions knowledge type stuff.
Yep.
Ixion and the Brotherhood of Radiance, are they natural allies, natural enemies, normally neutral?
So Ixion is the high god of energy.
Yep.
He is the ruler of that sphere. That sphere also governs magic in the world.
Yep.
The Brotherhood of the Radiance is the official religion of the Galantrian region that believes in magic solving everything, but also connecting to the 5 spheres.
So, yeah, well, I guess in that sense, yes. If we're talking Galantrian type stuff, officially there's no connection whatsoever between the Brotherhood of Radiance and Ixion, because as far as Galantrian is concerned, all other religion is illegal, and it's not like the Brotherhood of Radiance is actually religion. Is that from memory? Is that right?
So, from what you've read, the Brotherhood of the Radiance is a religion in the sense that it protects those like it does every other religion.
Yep.
So, people aren't being taken over by demons and devils.
That's right. They can be reincarnated and things like that. Yep. They get the benefits of religion without actually being recognised as a religion.
Most other countries don't recognise it as a religion.
Yep.
But they still have clerics. And Ixion, being a god of magic, is part of that pantheon.
Yeah. So expectation-wise would be that Ixion and Radiance, if they were going to be associated, they'd be allies rather than enemies.
That is the main belief system, but the god Brad sits at the top of the Radiance pantheon.
So where does Radiance come into the... I would have thought Radiance came under energy, didn't it?
It does come under energy, but the god Rad sits at the top of the belief system.
Yeah. Ixion is considered the top god of energy.
He is, yes.
In the world anyway. Okay, so they're both from the same sphere, and so therefore would be presumably natural allies against other spheres.
That is the belief system, yes.
There's certainly likely to be conflict between the two of them for hierarchy within energy. So
you have no idea where the god Rad sits in the hierarchy?
No, in the sense, yeah, like, Rad would like to think, I'm assuming that Ixion, from, again, knowledge from Kaldaran and general world, Ixion's the god, as far as energy is concerned. Rad might want to be there, and so therefore might want to try and challenge Ixion for the throne.
Well, Rad is not recognized in any religion outside of Galantry.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah, okay. So basically, going back to Trellen, Dimitri is suggesting the fact that, well, yes, there appears to be some connection between Ixion and Rad, the Radiance. It may be worth finding out more, or attempting to find out more as to, okay, what that connection is. Are they working together to create all these disasters in the world? Are they working together to combat all these disasters in the world? Or are they conflicting with each other, and therefore the disasters in the world are a result of such powerful beings?
What was the name of the other god? So it was Rad and
Ixion. Ixion is also one of the gods of the Ethengarian, Trellen, he's pretty much a god of nearly every pantheon.
Yeah. He might be known by some different names, depending on the pantheon.
He's known by many names.
Yeah,
so Rad and Ixion. So you're fairly sure that Rad and Ixion are in cahoots.
well, and again, this one, so, oh no, so it's, it was Edigear that got the books along with,
It was, yes.
so Dimitri has effectively no knowledge of Rad, except possibly from his time in the information, is that right?
He would have heard of the clerics of Rad and the Temple of the Radiance.
And the fact that it's the only religion that's allowed within Galantry.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, so Dimitri would say that, well, yes, from what little I know of Rad, he should be, I would expect, subordinate to Ixion within the sphere of energy. And therefore you would expect that if the world was in danger, they'd be working together to combat that danger.
Okay.
Really, as a player, I suspect that's the wrong interpretation, but as a character, I think that's what you come with.
Okay. I'm happy.
Go, Ambrose.
So two things. Number one, my wonder is if you can word that question, especially with what Dimitri's just kind of dug out. Is there a way that some of these quests are linked? Maybe?
Well, let's say from Dimitri's perspective, he's thinking that certainly the results of all the quests are linked.
Yeah.
They also map Ixion and Rad situation, whatever it might be.
And the fact that the world seems to burn in every outcome does not seem to be at odds with two fire gods being at the focus.
Exactly. The second thing, I've just had a kid wake up with a nightmare, so do you guys mind if I duck out a bit early?
All good.
Alright, have a great night, guys.
Thanks for joining.
Okay.
Hey.
Alright, so I'm going to step out of the light.
After getting anointed.
Yes.
As you step out into the darkness outside of the light, you find yourself in the middle of a battle. There are elves killing elves. So you're surrounded by what you remember Little Miss being when she was an elf, massacring high elves and wood elves and other elves. And then you sort of see it go out into the lands of Darakan, and you see horse warriors sweeping through the streets of Darakan, killing everyone you see before them. War and death everywhere where you called home.
Did everyone go quiet, or did I lose connection?
No, I had a bit of a think about it.
No, next time, just because it suddenly went quiet, I thought, hang on, what happened there?
So I guess I'm looking around to see if there is anyone to answer my question. Rad and Ixia.
From what you remember from the others, they just ask the questions without actually seeing someone to ask.
Okay, I'll just say it into the air and see if there's a response.
And what is the question you want to ask?
What is the involvement of Rad and Ixia in the future of this land?
Okay, so you see a white tree before you, and you also see a glowing crystal, and they seem to clash. I actually get the right symbology there. Okay. So you also see a book with stars showing the celestial heavens rising up underneath the white tree. And so you do recognize from what you've learned that the white tree is the symbol of Ilsundal, the god of the elves. Also a god of fire, by the way. And the book with the star in the center representing the celestial realms is a symbol of Raphael, another of the fire gods.
Okay.
And then you have a third symbol that you weren't expecting appear.
Okay. Yep.
That of a skull with horns on a fire background shaped like a phoenix.
Simrak.
Symbol of one of the demonic gods. One of the entropic fire gods. So a god of entropy who's also a god of fire.
So that was in response to me asking about Rad and Ixia.
That is correct.
And their agenda. And so you've got El Sundal coming up.
We got Alphundal the tree with the Raphael the book coming up underneath it, and the flaming skull coming at it from the west.
What was the glowing crystal?
The glowing crystal is symbology you do not understand.
Okay.
And again, obviously, it's the player questioning, just to confirm confirming what Trellen might know. The flaming skull, that is symbol for Thanatos, isn't it?
No, that's a symbol for Alphax.
Alphax, okay.
The roaring demon.
Right, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I'm just trying to remember exactly, what symbols he might have seen while we're down in the Hollow World.
So to put it simply,
So I think
he is the equivalent of the Balrog in the setting.
Yeah. I've got a vague thought that we actually came across a connection with Alphax while we were down in the Hollow World, didn't we?
You had connections to Xantiotl.
That's right, okay, yeah.
And potentially Alphax as well, because Alphax was related to Nithia.
Yeah. But yes, not necessarily in the sense that Trellen would have seen the symbol to actually make that connection automatically. Yeah.
Not as much, but it is a known symbol of demonic entities.
Yeah. Okay. Flaming skulls, normally bad.
Yes.
So, second question.
It's all very confusing.
As he's dealing with spirits in most cases. Did you wish to ask for help from other players?
Oh yeah, of course. Dimitri's.
Well, obviously Dimitri can't give you any advice from this one.
But the players
I
can.
might be able to think about sort of things that Trellen might ask, but yeah. Obviously Dimitri can't actually... It's one spot where Dimitri cannot give you any more advice than what he already gave you as you walked in.
But Jeremy can give you advice.
That's right.
So I will give you some insight from what Jeremy said, is the visions will only show you something in relation to your quest from perspective of what quest you were given.
Yeah.
So if you ask for something that is not related to the quest, you probably won't get an answer you can use.
Alright, well, let's ask about the unicorn.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to know about the unicorn?
Where will I find it?
Okay.
And what does it want?
So 2 questions.
Okay, had 2 left.
So yes, you find that the unicorn is in the forest, apparently being chased by some aberration with many eyes. And the death of the unicorn sets off the trigger that starts the war.
Of course it does.
But you do recognize a beholder when you see one.
What I'm glad to hear about is that you're not seeing a Katagora tribesman standing in the background. Because then I'd be really worried about the unicorn.
So, is the unicorn being threatened by the beholder?
It's been attacked by the beholder. And you believe the death of the unicorn starts off the war, which cannot be stopped at that point.
Alright, so do we have... Anyway, I can't ask any more questions.
Well, you can. You can probably come back.
No, I'm happy to stop there.
Okay. Did Little Miss have any questions she was ready to ask?
Honestly, her opinion at the moment is it's all fucked. She's struggling because at the moment there's no guarantee of who's even going to answer these questions, and she's been burned by people, well, by deities claiming to be deities they're not. So she doesn't really have a lot of, unless she could have it guaranteed it's Karameikos she's communing with.
It's definitely not Karameikos.
Well, she will be told it will not be Karameikos. It will most likely be one of her ancestors.
Yeah, Dimitri will say that yes, the Immortals and the gods have no power or influence in this realm.
Right.
We're not talking to Karameikos.
You're talking to the dead.
Okay. Somehow I missed that in the mix.
I think it wasn't necessarily something like, I say, Dimitri found out privately when he tried to talk to Yell before we came in, and got informed that there was no power there. But certainly, yes, when it came time to discussing about getting the questions and answers, Dimitri certainly let people know that, yes. Like when he was when Captain Crimson went in, he said, you are not going to be talking to Simmerich. You're not going to get a chance. So,
yeah. So I suppose her only real questions are probably, like, they're similar to what's already been asked, which is like, is there a way to prevent all of the prophecies?
Okay, so when you actually step out and see your vision...
I was meant to say that noting Little Miss's concerns about the fact that talking to anyone other than Karameikos, possibly the first question to check on is, are you interested in getting access to your ancestors or the dead?
That changed things because she is very family and oriented. So that if it's not God related and it's to her ancestors, then she would be willing to get answers from them.
So when you step out, you see people flying the flag of the Black Eagle Barony, decimating all the island villages that you remember, to the point of burning them all down.
Which is part of what Dimitri told you about from his second question.
Yeah, so my question is there a way to prevent this and the other threats prophesied with one sort of quest, given our limitations of time and resources? Is there a way to try and achieve at least like mine and others?
Okay, so the time rewinds a bit to before the ship set sail, and you see that the figurehead that you remember your ancestors hunting for, supposedly a ship with this cannot be sunk, and is almost it's basically the most prized possession for any ship's captain in your lore. And you find yourself, see yourself picking up the figurehead out of a cave on the coast of Halag, which is where the Black Eagle Barony is located. And standing with you is a blue-scaled dragonborn who you've never met before.
Of course. So it's no simple. This party hasn't dealt with Draggles, time traveling and things like that before. But has this party dealt with any other Dragonborn?
No.
No. Any other.
Your character has, Dimitri has.
Dimitri has, yeah.
But the others have not.
Yeah, okay.
And unlike most Dragonborn you were seeing, this one has wings.
Right, so Dimitri never saw Dragonborn in his vision, so that's okay. But so the others that are seeing Dragonborn and thinking, yep, you've never seen this one before, but that's not unreasonable because they've only ever seen one Dragonborn.
So Little Miss has seen Dragonborn before, but not many with wings.
Okay.
And you also see that he and you seem to disappear with the figurehead just as a bunch of people wearing the regalia of the Black Eagle Barony enter the cave. Answering your second question.
Yeah, because my second question was like basically obtaining this figurehead. Like she's starting to piece things together now, so she's realizing that like some of the other things that we haven't talked about, like pirate fleet going down, invasions from offshore, all this sort of thing, is all these guys. And one of the reasons they're so successful is because they have this kind of almost invincibility in this one ship.
Mm-hmm. And when you see you and the Dragonborn disappear, you literally disappear without going into darkness. You just vanish.
Okay. So next question is, so because I get 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so my last question is, how do I find this Dragonborn?
Okay. You wake up at that point, and you hear the name Captain Rezel in your head.
How do you spell that?
So Captain,
Yeah.
and then I will get the spelling for you correct. It is
R-A-Z-Z-L-E.
Yep, R-A-Z-Z-L-E.
Like Razzle Dazzle. And how do you, just for my own sake, how do you spell Halag?
H-A-L-A-G.
Yeah, I thought so, but I just wanted to double check.
I'm terrible at pronouncing things, so it may be pronounced differently by each person.
Okay, and just for my own, like, can I do, like, say, a knowledge or something to see whether or not I recognise that name?
See where the name Lun is on the map here? I'm circling it with the...
Right in the middle.
Yep. I put it right in the middle.
Oh, yep.
That is where the Gulf of Halag is. That is the Gulf of Halag. The border between the 5
ships. I was asking about.
Sorry.
It was because I figured I'd be familiar with that, especially being on the coast. No, the Captain Razzle, is that a name I've ever heard before?
No, you've never heard of that name before.
Right.
Except for Captain Crimson said that name as someone who spoke to him in his vision.
Ah, okay.
Who helped him burn down the Armada.
In Alphatian.
Yep. Okay. So, I'm going to...
Ask a fourth question?
No, I'm going to... No, I've woken up anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to communicate to the rest of the party, basically that... I'm basically going to say something like, this is all connected, which I think has become... I would say something like, I think this is becoming pretty obvious that this is all connected. And I think I know how to avoid it.
Okay, so I'll give you a few extra things as well. Plumman gets a chance to see what would happen if he doesn't do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Basically, if you take the seed out of the lands of the dead, a vampire will wipe you all out.
Which is why horses won't talk to him anymore.
Pretty much. And all the lands of Ethingar will burn.
Mm-hmm.
With your group's death.
Yep.
Why did we take the seed of fire out of the land of the dead in the first place?
No. The seed of fire is the one that we've just got from underneath.
Sorry, no. We're distinguishing again between the land of the dead and the lands that are full of undead, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So the land of the dead, meaning where we are right now.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a chance to ask some questions next time. Sir Clovis basically says that his family is stopping the giants from rampaging through Karameikos, wiping out all the population there. And when they go, the giants just let loose. So the Troldar and the Thiatan people get wiped out.
Yep.
And Bradshaw says that a group of assassins go around taking out all the leaders of various organizations throughout Karameikos, Starakan, and Rockholm.
That seems fair retribution for the death of a dwarf.
Death of a halfling, actually.
Halfling, sorry, yes.
And Bradshaw's family clan, and basically the dwarves are taken out of the equation for any assistance because of that, because there's not enough of their leadership left to do anything.
Yeah.
So each one has a catastrophic failure point.
But if each of them have been effectively instigated by factors deeper than, oh yeah, Dr. Dark died, then that would potentially give the opportunity for influencing them at a whole scale rather than individual scale. So,
Have we found out between us, like, how does this land of the dead work as far as time? While we're here, like, do we essentially have the time to help our Ethengarian friend without that impacting this stuff? Or do we basically have to leave him here to fend for himself so that we can deal with this other stuff at the same time?
Well, you believe these are what you get to do when you leave the land of the dead.
yeah. Well, except obviously, Plumman's quest of leaving the seed at the top of the mountain and asking his questions would obviously occur before we left.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, the
Yeah,
implication
so
being
my question is, like, spending time in the land of the dead with Plumman to help him do that is going to cause all this stuff to go to hell.
well, assuming he does it within the next couple of days. Like, we've only got a few more days left in the land of the dead anyway.
Yeah.
If we don't get out within the next few days, then we don't get out. So,
Yeah.
So basically, he's got a short time to get to the top of the mountain with or without us going with him. It shouldn't matter much either way.
Yeah, that was more my question. Does it matter either way? Because if it's a matter of you guys have to leave right now or it's all fucked, sorry, for my sharing, then that obviously creates a bit of a dilemma of, well, Plumman can't really defend himself at the moment, so...
Yeah.
I
I would suggest that, yes, the party can stick together to get to the top of the mountain and we get out of the land of the dead together. Whether we separate from them, because a lot of the quests appear to be the sort of thing that potentially could be done as an individual. On the idea of,
I'd rather not.
I certainly agree that there are strength in numbers, but the
How
idea
do we
of...
never split the party?
But
How we split the party, we wiped out a whole race.
Absolutely. From a player perspective, no charge whatsoever. But for the characters, it's the sense of, hey, if Dimitri, if all he's really going to do is to stop the dragons swarming over the world, is get back and say hello to a brass dragon that he met many years ago, potentially with or without having gathered up his old companions, then arguably that is something that he could do alone. Likewise, Trellen going and rescuing a unicorn. The fact that they're rescuing from a beholder means you probably need more help.
I'd say so.
But arguably, it could be the sort of thing that it's possible that he could gather a few elven friends as he goes to the forest. Hey, we've got to protect this unicorn. Little miss. Now that she knows where to hunt for the artifact, to go and get it.
Yeah,
Potentially,
like from a character that even though me as a player is like, no.
Absolutely,
Her as a character, absolutely. She's now absolutely convinced that the best way to handle this situation, as far as within her abilities and powers, is to go and do that thing.
Yeah, but obviously, and if we send the entire party to do any one of these things, then yes, we might stop that specific doom, but considering all the dooms effectively doom the world, it doesn't matter whether if we stop the rise of the Black Eagle Barony, but we still get flights of dragons coming over the world anyway. It doesn't really matter how the world dies, the end result is the world dies.
Yeah.
And so there would be definitely, and I guess the question then also is, we've been told that we've only got time to do one of these things. However,
We can ignore that.
that's what I'm just thinking, is the fact that all of these dooms are not something that's going to happen overnight. So therefore, if we went to Alphine, saved the unicorn together, and then went down south into Karameikos, collected the artifact from the Gulf of Halgay, found the Brass Dragon in the forest, potentially we've got time to do all of them.
But we might not, because that's assuming that other parties in the world are not acting simultaneously and that time is frozen and can be operated on sequentially.
Yep, and that would be definitely one of them, and that's where Jeremy certainly doesn't promote it, but Dimitri would be saying, hey, we've got all these things to do. Lucky there's 7 of us, let's go our separate ways.
Yeah, no, that's right. Like, Little Miss is kind of on that bandwagon as well, as far as, like, she's very convinced that all of these things tying together somehow, whether it's through alliance between these groups or what have you. And so she strongly believes that disrupting somewhere along the line is going to potentially pivotally change most things that are being decided. And she also personally believes that for her own priorities and values and where she feels the most help can be made, she needs to go and find Captain Razzle and get this figurehead.
Yep. Well, I guess that would be, Dimitri's perspective would be that if the party does not want to try and split 7 ways and go and fight each of these things individually, then the other option is not to try and do any one of them, but actually go and try and find this connection of Ixion and the Brotherhood of Radiance, and deal with what is potentially the underlying cause of all of the problems.
Yeah.
Which would probably be going towards Galantry, which is effectively the opposite, like nowhere near any of the potential quests.
Yeah.
But if we are short of time, that's what
definitely
makes it
like that. Like, because at the moment, she's pretty set on Hallard because she feels like that's probably the most pivotal place to affect the most prophesied dooms. As far as there's at least 3 or 4 that she can directly see.
Oh, you mean effectively, when you say Hallard, you mean go to Karameikos? Like this area.
Yeah, but for me,
Because
I'm being told that this is the seed event, this is the precursor to the whole stuff falling apart.
Yeah, that's right. Like I say, So yeah, we could go to Alphine and try and save the unicorn to stop the war of the elves, but I'm looking at the fact that like whilst the figurehead for Little Miss is obviously something that if you stop that, then you stop the rise of the Black Eagle Barony, which would then save all the surrounding areas around it.
Well, it would also, like, from her perspective, she also thinks that that's going to impact, say, all of the issues with the pirate fleets and potentially the issues with invasion into Karameikos from overseas.
Yeah.
Like the ships invading from Karameikos. She's pretty convinced all three of those things all fall in with the Black Eagle Barony.
But remember, the ships that are going to be invading are actually flying ships from Alphatian. So the naval ships are probably not going to do or have a great deal of defence against that. And the other argument that Denise would say, well, hang on, yes, that affects all of the areas around Karameikos and the Serendi, the Shires, like the surrounds all around, the Black Eagle Barony. By comparison, Dimitri's Doom actually had the swarms of dragons everywhere in the world, including everywhere in the Hollow World.
The other thing too is I have player knowledge that Little Miss doesn't have that creates a very specific link between the Elven War and the Dragon War and the dragons.
Absolutely, no, I completely agree. There's the player knowledge is back out there. But like I say, purely on what we've seen on those visions, Dimitri definitely argued that, well, hey, if you're going to stop any one of those, technically the dragons were impacting the greatest area. Because it was affecting basically everywhere that Dimitri had ever been in his life was being destroyed. And that's a hell of a lot of the known world and a whole lot of the Hollow World. Considering Dimitri's been out of the Hollow World 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah, so this primary thing is, like, here her viewpoint falls down to either we try and pinpoint the thing that is chucking all these things into motion and deal with it at the source, or we split up and try and handle all of the things we know for a fact are going on that can be prevented, and that means splitting the party.
I will give you some answers from some of the others. They will say that the pivotal events that's causing all this has already happened. And it happened 9 years ago.
Yep.
This is a fallout of the events that happened 9 years ago.
So, there is in fact a sideline option we can definitely be looking at as part of this, irrespective of what we decide to do as a party. Dimitri would recommend that the first stop should actually be Garrican and the Night River Inn to report to Redrian that, hey, we think we found a lot of the cause of the issues, and then potentially he's got the resources to send out teams to a number of these flashpoints.
Alternatively, we can park our artifacts, and which would allow us to be teleported from place to place.
Well, technically, with the River Team, we can certainly get a significant amount of teleporting to a number of the places we need to get to. Yeah. I'm pretty certain that they had expanded into Alphine, haven't they?
They had, yes.
Yep. And they've certainly expanded down into into the 5 Shires. I'm not certain how far they've got towards Karameikos itself off the top of my head. But certainly getting to the 5 Shires gets you close to the shoreline to jump on a ship to get down that little bit further. It also gets the opportunity to get to Blanchard if we decide to go looking into the Ixia Rad potential. I guess so one of the first points we do, because it also comes back to Plumman's Doom, where if the black seed leaves the green seed leaves the spirit world, then we all get killed by vampires, and leading
All
to.
this doesn't matter anyway.
But also the fact that because we die, we have no chance to mitigate the rest of the doom, so therefore we'll get doomed.
That's what I meant.
But it certainly then places back and say, one of the things Dimitri said was, hey, leaving it here will be good for reducing the chances of Karameikos, the vampire, getting hold of it again. But it does mean that the Fire Orc are likely to overrun the 5 Shires. Admittedly, that seems to be a relatively minor issue compared to what else might happen. I would certainly agree that the green seed stays at the top of the mountain in the next couple of days. So,
okay, so you also got that from what Dimitri's being told by Redrian, you can actually get quite far through his network.
Yeah.
As you're currently up here, you have access to from Galantry, from Karaglain, from the Dwarven City. I believe. Where did they get that one? Well, they haven't got that one yet. But Selenica does have access to it. Alphatian has access to it. So a lot of the ones around the south do. You can even get all the way down to Irendi from the network.
Yeah. So that's just it. Like to me, something that the first stop for when we leave Ethingar is, or assuming it's not in Ethingar yet, is it? Is it?
It's not in Ethingar.
Yeah. So the first stop once we leave the spirit world is get to the closest night vision inn as soon as possible. Because then we can send reports back to actually you can send a report back to Redrian immediately anyway. So that then potentially he can be mobilising other parties to deal with issues and bits and pieces. But also it gives us that instantaneous, it'll be the fastest transport to wherever we want to go, even if they don't have a night visit in directly the place we need or decide. It'll still have one closer than where we are right now.
Okay.
Well, it has got one opening up in Lund in this game year, as well as Kelvin, Ylarum, and Irendi.
Yep,
so it does go a fair way to the south.
Yeah, so certainly that would allow us the access to potentially do a number of them sequentially, if we're allowed the time to actually do that sequentially, which they said we didn't, but that might just be they said they don't believe we can move quickly enough. But maybe we can. Because we're heroes.
Well, someone did ask the question of how you can do more than one, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Time travel?
Well, this is where, as a player, it's the idea of, yep, it's time to talk to Drazel. Where's his cart?
His cart does do freaky things.
To who?
To Drazel. You know, our Dragonborn friend that we've got wandering around with us the whole time?
We do?
Not yet. He's in the Tuesday game at the moment.
Oh, okay, yes. I was a bit confused about thinking that I didn't think we had Drazel amongst us, right? But then I remembered that, hang on, no, we had the discussion at the start of the thing, the fact that Drazel's listed as shown as one of the party members on the thing.
Yes.
Something that Emma commented and said, that's a really ugly picture. So we don't have Drazel with us at the moment.
Not yet.
Right, well, that's
But
cool.
it's
Because last
party.
time I was going crazy then, and it like missed an entire bloody campaign's worth of information somehow.
But if this party met Drazel,
This
No.
party has not.
Has Dimitri met Draxel?
I believe he has not.
Okay. Yep. I'm happy with that. As a player, I'm happy with that. Okay. I've never liked Draxel. So yeah, okay. So that means that the term Captain Draxel certainly has no connections for the party at the present time. But if we reported the name to Redrian, certainly.
Then he would join the dots.
Well, certainly Draxel has had definite impact for Redrian and other Redrian parties.
Tuesday and Friday.
Exactly. So reference to a dragonborn named Captain Draxel, and the recognition that Draxel, by some of the other parties, has been reported, if not directly by himself, but it's been reported to Redrian by other parties, that Draxel has used multiple names like Dr. Axel and various things. It's certainly not a stretch to go to Captain Draxel. And therefore, yes. Unfortunately, it might mean that the Wednesday party actually ends up meeting Draxel. Damn it!
You did suspect he was going to be in more than one game.
Oh, absolutely. But and then, yeah, as a player from the other campaign side of the house, it is the sort of thing that Redrian is aware that Draxel has provided influence in multiple points throughout time, even when he wasn't necessarily expected to be there or even born at the time.
So think of Draxel very much like you would Doctor Who.
Yes.
Yeah.
With as much explanation as Doctor Who generally gives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, you may well have read his books. He's written a couple bestsellers throughout the known world.
Were they called Razzle Dazzle, The Secrets of Jazz Hands?
No, but you should ask Stefan about how his character title has been immortalized in the campaign.
Exactly. It's a sort of, they're actually the types of books that Dimitri possibly hasn't read, because they're really not his style.
Romance novels. Okay, so as it is 10:30 tonight, I think this is a good point to give you. You've got a lot of information.
Yep.
And it gives you a chance to have some of the others ask some information.
I just have one quick question,
All
just
good.
so that it's officially clarified as part of game.
Yep.
In the interim since leaving the Hollow World to getting to Ethengar, can we, is it okay to sort of accept canonically that I've purged the 3 to 4 not good magic spells, not replaced them, because I know that has to be done by finding someone to learn stuff from, but purged the other ones officially, so they're no longer scarring my soul.
Yeah, I am happy with that. I'm happy that you have learnt to replace the scythe one with one that uses an energy type relating to your
We'd already discussed that one, so I put that in as on my spell sheet as an electric thing, but there's one other cantrip and there's a 3rd and a 4th level spell, I believe. I've put across onto my electronic spreadsheet, character sheet, the ones that were safe, including the new version of Spectral Scythe, and that leaves me 4 spells that I need to add to my sheet. One of them's because of the level up, but the other 3 are because of ones I've had to purge.
Well,
so those 3 I'll...
Technically, one of the ones with the level up you can replace, because you can always replace a spell when you level. And the other 2 you could have spent downtime replacing during that time.
That's right, yeah, because we've actually you've had at least 8 weeks of actual downtime since we come back from the Hollow World as part of that level up.
Yeah.
That means that, you've certainly had, there's
I've
certainly
been
no
able
reason...
to seek out Karatiku-friendly peoples to help me find magics that are, 1, not evil and scarring, and 2, going to be more in line with how Korotiku would rather sorcerers with wild magic to operate.
And there's still the quest that you probably have to find your teacher who taught you those spells.
Yes,
And
yes,
hunt them
that's
down and
also
kill them.
again, Ella. I have a matter to deal with on that one.
Yeah. And I'm happy for that to be outstanding, and we'll find out what happens.
Yep.
All good. Well, thank you very much for that, guys.
Thank you. And it gave me a chance to give you a good idea of what's coming in the story.
Yes.
It's always nice to have a bit of prophecy pop out. So I will thank you all.
And you said the other thing is the idea of actually going via the Night River Inn first up. Or even actually, as soon as we get out of this time here, Trellen getting on the staff to Redrian to pass this report, because he might have some ideas on how to actually, or interpretations of what we saw and how they relate to big events.
I do have the religion skills, so I can speak from a level of expertise.
Absolutely. But they say that Redrian might also then be able to provide greater clarity on exactly what the relationship between Ixion and the Brotherhood of Radiance is, along with the other Immortals of energy that you saw in your vision, and also the Burning Skull, and all those sorts of bits and pieces. Like, he might actually be able to provide some additional pieces of the puzzle when we get next opportunity to report or converse with him. So, yep.
It all sounds good. So, have a good night, everyone. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
And we shall see you again in a fortnight, and whichever other games you're in.
All good.
Okay.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.